even very experienced meditators, if they sit long enough, will experience intense pain. Some of our great forest masters would intentionally sit for hours at a time in order to experience the limits. Like if they already had very good meditation, they could probably sit 2 hours, no problem, no pain, very peaceful. 2, 3, 4 hours. But then some of them especially would want to try to push the limits of how much pain they could take, or how long, working through the barriers of pain. Right? It's not like the Olympics of like who can sit the longest, but it's a question of in the process of confronting physical pain, it entails you have to be very, very mindful, right? When the pain is intense, if you're watching it very, very carefully every moment, it's bearable. But as soon as your mindfulness slips, it's excruciating. So you get a strong motivation to be very, very vigilant in watching every moment, being aware of every moment. So there's no space for daydreaming. And some of these masters would sit for long periods of time as an experiment in what would happen with their mind. Some of it is detailed in some books by Ajahn Mahabua, for example, where you would talk about reaching a limit of incredibly intense pain, and then it would just kind of pop, like he said, like a balloon would pop, or just suddenly it would all just disappear, and he'd be flooded with a sense of physical and mental bliss. So then, is pain in the body or is pain in the mind? Right? Because suddenly it doesn't hurt anymore. Nothing has changed physically. So then, after that, you would be flushed with bliss, but then gradually the pain would set in again and grow and grow and grow, and reach a second level, which was even more intense. And then that too would suddenly kind of explode or fall away with a respite of bliss for a while, and then it would keep growing again and again. He said by the third time it happened, he felt like for sure he was going to die. It's like, for sure this is going to kill me. It's so painful, but he was such a strong determination. It's like, no, I said I wasn't going to move, so I won't. And was able to stick with it. But then even that eventually burst and assisted him in developing wisdom very quickly. A few years ago, I took a group to Thailand, and we went around and visited many of the great meditation masters, and one of the meditation masters that we visited was Bujanrian, was it?
Ajahn Chandako?
No, the one who was talking about pain up in Tam Sahai. And so this meditation master, he was telling us about when he was training in meditation. He was doing this kind of practice. Say, he lived in his monastery was called Tam Sahai, which was the Comrade Cave, which is a big series of caves, labyrinths of caves that when the communist era used to, when they had the insurgency in the countryside, they used that as like a headquarters. But then after the communist insurgency dissipated, then eventually got turned into meditation caves and became a forest monastery. So it's still called Tam Sahai, or Comrade Cave. And he was talking about how in his practice it was very difficult to get past the 8-hour mark, 8 or 9 hour mark, I think, without moving. So, don't aspire too high, but that just gives you a sense of some of these meditation masters, are really skilled in meditation, and so what they found, like where they were challenging themselves, is okay, sit 8-9 hours, like the 9-hour mark, without moving. And he says, no, the pain was always just too great, and then he would have to give up. So he finally made a determination. He just determined, if I don't, I'm going to do this. If I move at that point, then I vow to be reborn in hell. So in his mind, that was, it was very realistic. So when it got to that point, it's like it had already been pre-programmed with this determination, this vow. It said, well, I can't stop because I vowed I would be reborn in hell if I gave up. And that assisted him enough that he's able to get over that. And so that was one thing that assisted him in developing very deep wisdom. Now, again, those types of practices are beneficial if you already have exceedingly strong samadhi and mindfulness. Most of us are just, we have a little bit of samadhi, a little bit of mindfulness, but we can take those same principles. So when you experience, physical sensations and discomfort, just keep in mind that, you don't have to either run away from them or kind of tough it out in a macho way. It's more like, maybe let's see what I can learn from this. So it's a very good teacher.